Our top story this hour. In Munich, it's been a week of warnings and statements. In the latest, foreign ministers of the G7 groups have reiterated that they saw no evidence that Russia is reducing military activity near Ukraine's borders and remained gravely concerned about the situation. Now, a joint statement released by Britain's foreign ministry called on Russia to choose the path of diplomacy and to de-escalate tensions by comprehensively withdrawing military forces. The statement also warned that they would judge Russia not by its words but by its deeds. Russia has maintained that it has no plans of invading Ukraine. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz met and agreed that, on one hand, while more diplomatic efforts were needed to stop Putin from attacking Ukraine, but on the chance that it did, allies must put in place a comprehensive response which would target at the heart of Russia's strategic interests. US Vice President Kamala Harris also said that the United States and its allies have prepared economic sanctions that will target Russia's key financial institutions and industries.
We are prepared to move forward with consequences. We have prepared together economic measures that will be swift, severe, and united. We will impose far-reaching financial sanctions and export controls. We will target Russia's financial institutions and key industries. And we will target those who are complicit and those who aid and abet this unprovoked invasion. Make no mistake, the imposition of these sweeping and coordinated measures will inflict great damage on those who must be held accountable.
Annalena Baerbock, the German foreign minister, too reiterated warnings on sanctions. This includes potentially halting the Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline between Russia and Germany. The pipeline is yet to be certified. Germany's early reluctance to explicitly put Nord Stream 2 on the list of possible sanctions had exasperated allies and raised doubts on Berlin's resolve to end the Ukraine crisis. Baerbock, however, also said that it was unhelpful to try and predict what Russia might do, in a divergence from what the US President Joe Biden said this week. She said it remained unclear whether Putin had made a decision about Ukraine. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, US President Joe Biden will convene the National Security Council today to discuss the evolving situation in Ukraine. And for more details on this, former US military intelligence analyst Josh Manning joins us live from Seattle in the United States. Thank you so much for joining us. Foreign ministers of the G7 have reiterated their concern and saying that there has been no evidence of Russia's claims of withdrawing troops. What do you make of the situation?
Yeah, it doesn't look like they're withdrawing troops at all. It looks, in fact, like they're increasing troops and moving them forward. I think the total was 190. It was 100 less than a few weeks ago, with 50,000 troops moving towards the border. I mean, it's looking more and more like an invasion is coming, hours, days. I mean, who knows? But it's imminent for sure.
Right. Now, also, US Vice President Kamala Harris, like I mentioned, warned of unprecedented sanctions. Also, the fate of the Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline has come up time and again. How do you assess this?
Well, I mean, that's what they're supposed to do, right? So, I mean, we're not going to go in as much as many of us would like them to. We're just not going to go in militarily. The U.S. isn't to defend Ukraine with our military forces. We're going to give them as many assets and as much equipment as we can. And so you have to work on the exterior of that, right? And so you're going to try and pressure the regime in Moscow and hit those oligarchs, those people who are close to Putin. You're going to hit Putin himself. You're going to hit the family around him. And you're going to try and make life difficult on those people. It'll make life tough on the Russian people. That sucks. But, that's their government. They're stuck with this regime. And so we have to deal with this regime and root it out. And I think one of the ways to root this regime out is to really go after those oligarchs who are close to Putin and really squeeze them out.
Right. Mr. Manning, do stay with us. We will come back to you for more updates on this. Moving on for now, with the situation in Ukraine only worsening by the day and no diplomatic solution in sight, more countries are erring on the side of caution and advising their citizens to leave Ukraine. The latest to do so is France, which has urged its citizens to leave the Ukrainian regions of Kharkiv, Luhansk and Donetsk without delay after an upsurge in shelling was reported in the last 3 days. Now, a travel advisory issued by the French Foreign Ministry also advised French citizens to leave Ukraine if they do not have urgent business there. This follows a similar warning from Germany, who told its nationals to leave Ukraine now because a military confrontation is possible at any time. And Germany's Lufthansa group also announced that it is suspending flights to and from Ukrainian cities. Once again, going back to Mr. Josh Manning, thank you so much for staying with us, sir. Now, there's a growing list of countries that have issued an advisory asking their citizens to leave Ukraine. There's also been relocation. NATO has relocated its staff as well. How do you assess this?
I mean, it's pretty part and parcel, right? I mean, we're going to take our embassy out. I agree. John Cipher, a fantastic, wonderful man who worked for the CIA, made a great point that when you start to leave those missions, you lose your key information nodes inside those countries. So by abandoning Kiev, we're protecting American folks from what's going to become a nasty bombing campaign and missile campaign and just brutal war, Chechnya-like, inside of Ukraine's capital. And so they pushed him out. But we're going to lose access to some of that information. I think the French are staying behind. The Israelis are kind of playing coy. I mean, it's just up to different countries to do what they want to do. But yeah, pulling out, you lose that access to information. So some of them might just want to stay there to still have that access to information, which I imagine is what the French are trying to do.
Right. Now, despite repeated calls for diplomacy, just for more clarity here, Russia has also started nuclear drills. How do you see, what do you think will be Putin's next steps here?
Oh, that's the tough one. You know, I think it's a symbolic gesture, right? That the head of the regime shows up and supervises these military drills and talks about the might of Russia before they go into a country that they've been really aiming for a long time, and that has a real key common cause, you know, to the Slavic belief. And so I think that's what they're building towards, right? Is this trying to rebuild the Slavic empire? And so you do that with a show of missiles and nuclear force, right? Putin has put nuclear use as one of their strategic deterrents, and you have to take that seriously, given what they have. It's been one of the foci of the government for a long time. So, yeah, I mean, it's a serious threat. Are they going to use nuclear weapons? I don't know. I would hope not. But you know, I don't know. I don't know I don't think anyone knows, right? What's going to happen here? This could splinter a million different ways. And I think Putin's coming at this with a lot of revenge, and I think he's coming at this with a lot of anger, and as are the people around him. And I think we need to be scared about where this could go.
Right. All right, Mr. Josh Manning, thank you so much for joining us with all your insights on this.
Thank you.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.